Hello lovely book dragons and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Joana and I love to talk about books on this channel, specifically fantasy books. And today I'm bringing you round 2 of my SPFBO reads. So if you don't know what SPFBO is, I will leave my round 1 video linked up here and in the description of this video. But basically SPFBO is a self-published competition put on by Mark Lawrence where authors with self-published books can enter and then we pick a winner. I am part of Bookborn's team. I will leave her and every other member of my team in the description of this video so you can go check them out and you can go subscribe to them. For my part, I had to read 6 books and then pick my favorite and tell Bookborn which one it was. And in my first video, I read the first 3, and then today I'm going to be sharing with you the last 3 books I read and also the winner. I will start from my least favorite to my favorite, and then I will tell you why I picked my favorite as the winner. The first book we're going to be talking about is Sweetness and Blessings by Charlotte Kirsten. This book, unfortunately, I had to DNF at 30%. Safe from ruin after fleeing from a terrible mistake, Iriluri is grateful for her husband, and that gratitude is equaled only by her dread of disappointing him with more mistakes. Together they fumble through magic once practiced by her fallen people in the hopes of finding the forgotten offerings that will make them rich. As this search continues, a kind stranger on the street and a solitary ghost challenge Iriluri to begin thinking beyond the fear and careful rules that she has lived by for so long. It becomes more and more impossible for Iriluri to ignore wrongs in her world and her life, but what use is this knowledge when acting upon it is so dangerous? Now, I was reading this book and I was actually enjoying it, and ultimately the reason I decided to DNF this one is because the abuse was too much and the inner monologue of our main character was too much. I couldn't handle it. It was a little bit triggering, to be honest, and so I had to put it down. As you can tell, our main character Iriluri is very much attached to her husband, and the whole 30% of the book, every time he was being an utter and complete idiot to her, like telling her she was dumb and stupid and useless and literally all that stuff, she was like, I know, he's right, I am all these things, I am not a good wife, I don't deserve any blah blah blah. And every time he wouldn't even have to tell her these things, that she would go up to him and be like, I know, I'm so useless, I'm so stupid, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I can't do this, I really can't. In my family there's a little bit of history with this kind of stuff and I just couldn't do it. I literally couldn't do it. And if you get triggered by marital abuse or stuff like that, then please probably don't pick this one up, because it's just it's not even that our main character is like, oh, my husband is rude, I need to get away or anything. No, she's really subservient and just, I couldn't do it. I'm really sorry. I think the magic system was interesting. The world was interesting. I wanted to keep reading because of what was happening, because of the plot, but I just couldn't make it past the 30%. And at that point, we still were very much at the beginning of them delving into the magic and into the rituals of her people. And so, and also that, like, she is a different race than him, and they were always like putting her down because of it. So I just couldn't. Ultimately, I couldn't do it. I'm really sorry. I think if you're not triggered by this kind of stuff, you should pick it up because it sounded very interesting, and it was. But like I said, I couldn't make myself read this. Next up, we have Guardians of Light by Lezlie. 17-year-old Emryn Gareth has always known that there is something unusual about her. Constantly plagued by headaches that compel her to wander away from home and into the surrounding mountains, Emryn is always a source of concern to her parents and her future husband. She knows that she will never be able to live the life that's expected of her in her small farming community. But a chance meeting with a strange creature in need of help changes Emryn's life forever, leading her to question everything she's ever known. She finally understands just how very different she is and how different the world is from her sheltered life that she has always known. The synopsis goes on, but I'm gonna stop here because I think you don't need to know anything else. And this book I actually ended up really enjoying. I gave this one roughly a 3.5 stars if I were to rate them. I didn't really rate my SPFBO books, but yeah, this one will probably be a 3.5 stars. I thought that the beginning was very mysterious. So we start off with our main character, Emryn, as she turns 17. In her village, when you turn 17, you get matched with someone to marry. You don't pick your husband, your parents don't pick your husband. It's kind of like the clergy that picks the husband, and she gets her match, and everyone thinks she's gonna get this really handsome guy from the village, and she's like, no, I don't want. And then when she gets her actual match, she's like, no, I kind of wish it was that guy. So she really just doesn't want to get married, to be honest. And she doesn't want to get married to anyone that she doesn't love. And everyone's like, yeah, but you will end up loving him. Don't worry about it. And then they have 6 weeks to prepare for their wedding and to prepare to become a married couple. The women, of course, learn to cook and all that kind of stuff, and to prepare to be a mom and a wife and all that stuff. And the husband, he learns to become a provider and husband and a trade so that he can provide for his family. We follow those 6 weeks in a very, very fast, like it's only a few pages, those 6 weeks of her preparing. But already there, I thought, oh my gosh, am I gonna have to put this down as well? Because her fiancé, if we will, also starts berating her and starts like hurting her physically. And I was like, no, I can't have another book with abuse in it. I just can't read. I cannot have 2 DNFs for this video. And then thank goodness that was like one thing, and she's like, oh hell nah, I am out of here. And as you heard, she has these really, really big headaches, and they call her to the mountains. And so one day she is laying in bed, and this is the day before her wedding, and she has a massive migraine, and she flees to the mountains and is like, you know what, I don't want to marry this guy. I don't want to be forced into this life. Toodaloo. And she just leaves. And she meets one of her friends in the mountains as well, whose brother also is an outcast and lives in the forest, which is quite dangerous. And their mother just died. And she's like, what happened? My mother died. My brother is gone. What's happening? You're here in the mountains. Oh my goodness, what is life? And so we go from there until they meet these creatures that they thought were myths and legends, and in the end it's all real. The world outside of their little village is so much more than they ever thought, and the story goes from there. I actually ended up really enjoying this book. I thought it was really fun and fast-paced, and it was really I don't know, it took the chosen one, the whole concept of you have to leave your farming village to become something bigger, and you learn that everything you've ever thought was a myth or legend, that it's actually true, and blah blah blah. All of that, I feel like it was done in a fresh way. I mean, as fresh as this kind of trope can be, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I just was compelled to keep on reading and reading and reading. And the only thing that annoyed me to no end was the book ends in a sort of cliffhanger, and there is no sequel. This book was written in 2015, and there is no sequel, and I was just like, well, this is how you leave me, Miss Aldrich. This is how you leave me. So that is kind of like the thing that you should know. Like, if there were a sequel, I'd probably pick it up, but yeah, there wasn't, and I ended up really liking this one. I think that if you like that chosen one trope, if you like that trope of, I live in this sheltered village, and the people are trying to hide stuff from us, and I have to leave this village and I discover a whole wide world outside of it. If you like that trope and you want to support self-published authors, I think you should pick this one up, because it is really fun, it is really fast-paced, and it is very short, so the story just keeps on moving and we don't drag at any point. It wasn't the same though as in one book that I read in round 1, Profane Rites, where I just felt like we were skipping things. I didn't like it there, because I felt like we were skipping things. And here, I felt like the story was moving forward and the plot was moving forward. And yes, some things were happening pretty fast, but I never felt like, oh, okay, well, we skipped the leg of the journey, so we went from here to here. Well, I wanted to see that. So I ended up really liking it here, and it's just unfortunate that we don't have a sequel. And now, on to the winner of my 6 books for SPFBO, and that is The Menocht Loop by Lauren Ryburn. Ian Denai is trapped in the only maze an arch-descamencer can't escape: time. Only 1% of the population is blessed with magic affinity at birth. Fewer still have high enough affinities to rule. Ian's desamency eclipses all, granting him ultimate control over death. He conquers cities with a thought and turns them into ruins with a gesture. But overwhelming power isn't enough to escape the time loop or reveal its purpose. When Ian discovers a critical clue that he missed years ago, escape is finally at his fingertips. Little does he know, he's been stuck on layer 1. This book was so much fun. I listened to the audiobook of this, which also was really, really good. And I couldn't put it down. I would go on walks and I would put it on. I was like, oh my goodness, because I love time loops. I freaking love time loops. And I love how our main character just kept on going back, like, okay, I've already done this. If I do this now, this happens. So where did I go wrong? What do I need to change? What do I need to change to get out of this situation? And it was just so compelling, fast-paced, exciting. I don't know, I just liked everything about it. And I don't know, the second we start getting, because we have the time loop a few times in the beginning, and then he finds the clue that allows him to move forward, and it's just so exciting. The world is so exciting. There's a whole series for this, so if you want to continue on, you can. And in this one, I really liked the pacing, because, like I said, it just keeps on going and going and going and going. There's some really disgusting bits, to be honest. Like, because our main character has an affinity for death. At the very beginning, we're in this place where a city has been like completely wiped out by like a plague, and so he can reanimate some of the bodies and just like look at stuff, and like it's just a little bit disgusting at some points. I remember walking around being like, this is a bit gross, but I thought that it was fun and interesting and fresh. It was really fresh. That's the thing of all these books. Most of them felt like, yeah, I was reading a version of fantasy that I am used to. And this one felt more like sci fantasy, which is usually not my thing, but here it really was. It really hit the spot. And I don't know, it was just completely different from all the other books on this list. And I really enjoyed that. There was nothing where I thought, you know what, I don't like that. You know those times when you want to pick up a book and you just want to be totally entertained and you want it to be a little bit puzzly, like what's going on, but you don't want it to be complicated, complex, where you have to follow all these systems and rules. And as much as I love a hard magic system, sometimes I want to be taken on an adventure, especially if a time loop is involved. I freaking love time loops. And just seeing our main character moving forward in the layer that he's stuck in, and then all of a sudden when he arrives in different places and people are like, yeah, so this and this, and he's like, how long have I been gone for? Like, because these people clearly don't know that I've been stuck in this time loop for a while. And he has his memories and he knows these things, and it's just so cool. If you want an exciting book, and if you like time loops, and if you like, honestly, I recommend the audiobook so much because I feel like the audiobook was so well done, and I just wanted to keep on listening all the time when I was listening to it. I ended up not even immersion reading it. I ended up just fully audiobooking it. It's on Audible. The whole series is on there. I may continue on eventually when I'm in the mood for like a fun sci fantasy book. And I don't know, I just had a really good time with this one. And when I picked it up, within the first 5%, I immediately messaged Bookborn. I was like, I think I have my winner, but I'll let you know because I still had to read the other 2 books in this video. But I knew from the very beginning, okay, this is gonna be my winner, because none of the books in round 1 were as exciting or as fresh or as interesting. Well, there was one that was interesting, but in a different way. But I just knew this was my thing. When I read the synopsis of this, when Bookborn gave me my books, I was like, this is probably gonna... I was debating between this one and another one, but I was like, this one has a time loop in it, and I love time loops. That is my wrap up for this book. I ended up really enjoying it. Like I said, I think that if I were to rate them, I'd probably give it like a 4 stars or something like that, just because it kept me engaged, and I actually had a really good time listening to this audiobook. So that is it. Those are the 3 books that I had left to read for SPFBO round 8. Like I said, if you wanted to see my reviews for the first round, I will leave a link up here and in the description of this video. And as well, I will leave all of my team's members' channels linked down below so you can check them out and you can go subscribe to them because they're all lovely people. That is going to be it from me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to let me know that you were here, you can leave a dragon emoji in the comments of this video, or let me know if you've read any of these books. I would be surprised because they had very few reviews and ratings on Goodreads. But let me know if you like self-published fantasy books, and if you have one that stands out to you, like, you need to read this one. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and until next time, happy reading.